Yo, what up, Bangerz and Mash here, brand new studio. We're gonna start preaching Preacher Part 2, Episode 2. I think it was called C.
Okay, so the episode starts off in 1881. It's kind of Wild West. Those who've read the comics, there is a cowboy in it, but that's really all we can say right now.
Rough and tough ass cowboy, yeah.
Yeah, Jesse is faithfully serving his congregation. He's doing baptisms and like helping people repent for their sins. We figure out why Eugene's face is the way it is, and Cass ends up giving him the iconic "your face looks like an arse." We learn that one of the church patrons is having these urges. Jesse is kind of confused on what to do, and he ends up trying to tell the guy just not to act on them. In the beginning, Jesse's standing outside smoking as he normally does, and all these dogs are barking in the background, and with this strange, weird voice, he's just like, "Quiet!" and the dogs stop. That was kind of the first taste.
Yeah. So Jesse keeps having like these weird moments where there's like all this kind of, I guess they portray it through ringing in his ears, and he's like gets this weird focus where he can't hear what's going on, but he just kind of like stares at shit like kind of all angrily. He zones out seeing a school bus with this weird crazy focus. Meanwhile, we do kind of figure out a little bit more about Cass and his vampire background. We got to listen to Johnny Cash, Rusty Cage in the episode. It was pretty sweet. I love that song. Jesse ends up drinking with Cass, but he ends up drinking some weird concoction that Cass whipped up, and it's like made out of like fucking radiator fluid and random chemicals. He ends up passing out because of this. When he is passed out though, these two random strangers just kind of stand over him, put a coffee can on him, and just start singing. It's really weird. Then for no reason they just try and chainsaw his ass in half.
That was like Plan B.
Yeah, and then basically Cass busts in right in time and lays the smack down on him. We get to see some wicked ass like stabbing, shootings, bludgeons, chainsawing, shit like that. The chainsaw scene was awesome. It almost felt Army of Darkness inspired. I hope those who saw it also feel the same way. It was kind of almost like an Easter egg, it felt like.
Cass ends up drenched in the blood of these two corpses. He ends up cleaning up the church in this funny way, and when he tries to get rid of the bodies, it ends up being like light out.
Yeah.
And he really can't go out in the sun at all because of being a vampire. Later on, Preacher ends up going to this woman's house. She has a daughter who's in a coma, and she has had like severe brain.
Yeah, you see it. It's pretty fucked up. Her skull's all like caved in.
Yeah, he tries to be like really comforting and trying to like tell her, things will get better.
Deep words.
She just like shuts him out. Those are just words. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
When leaving the house, he sees the bus again.
Does his weird zone out.
And he's like he goes to follow the bus and then ends up being tased.
Yeah, so he wakes up after being tased and he's chained by the foot. He finds out it was Tulip that kidnapped him, and Tulip's still trying to convince him to be part of this job, which he obviously refuses. It's kind of hinting towards something obviously gray or criminal of his past. She wants him to do these jobs again. He doesn't want to do the jobs and ends up finding out that he was chained at the foot but not actually chained to anything. So he ends up breaking into the house like a little bit later on where the bus was that he saw earlier. In the house he kind of like discovers the guy that confessed earlier about his urges. Preacher busts him in the face and starts to fill the bathtub with like hot ass water. And Jesse puts his face into the water and starts basically doing the baptism shit on him, yelling for him to forget her. He is able to do the deep voice thing, and as he's yelling like forget her, the guy like basically fucking forgets her.
He's like, what are you doing in my house?
Yeah, it was pretty trippy, man. It was crazy.
So to finish off, we see the guys who Cass killed once, and they're sitting in there with the sheriff. They end up telling the sheriff that they're working for the government, but obviously if they're back from being dead,
yeah,
the preacher goes to visit the same woman and the girl he does before, and he's trying out this power that he's yet to really understand. and then he's telling the woman, he's telling the girl to wake up at the end. That's the end of the episode right there. I have found that the cinematography, it feels really good. Like, the first time I watched Breaking Bad, if they're trying to convey, like, sadness or, like, really intense feelings, like, the scenes match what they're trying to give you.
Yeah, it was good. As to the thing with those guys claiming to be the government, if you've read the comics, it almost seems like they're hinting towards there being the heaven storyline.
But they've yet to even mention half the things.
So, we could keep a lookout for that. That storyline might start kind of building itself. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing next week's episode. We're looking forward to reviewing it.
More of the comic book.
Oh, yeah.
More what they haven't said.
Yeah. So really, tune in on Mondays for more Preacher, or Preacher we're calling it. Subscribe to watch our other videos. We got lots of shit, Soundtrack Sundays, or Sunday soundtracks, whatever we want to call it, at the movies. We do our reviews. There's Retro Reds. We got our podcast. Check it out on SoundCloud
and
on iTunes. And I guess until next time, fuck off.